Drybones responded to me, and it's clear there is a misunderstanding in my arguments. I'll be replying to his video and addressing everything he said. This will probably be my last video on the matter since hopefully everything should be clear by now. I should also mention that this video was in the works way before T-Pick made his video, so there isn't any connection there. Starting with the chilling and grooming part, yes, I included this believing Dry said chilling and grooming. This was sent to me by someone else, and when I looked into it, it sounded like he said it. I was not aware that blink and grooving is a common catchphrase, and the reason I mistook it for grooming is because of the other screenshots surrounding it. This is a coincidence and a mistake on my part, so I will apologize for including it. That was my fault, and I am sorry for including it. Now on to the other parts. While he does address most of my video, he leaves out a lot. One thing he leaves out is about the cheating section of me showing proof that he used the leaked version. In the video, you can see Drybones using the same version that was leaked. It was identical, and there's a video to even demonstrate what it looks like from the perspective of the skid. The reason I confidently said he was the skid is because when everything started, his name was attached to it, with videos of him in possession of the exact version. His attempt to frame someone else for it, and I'm joking that he did it. The reason I included these comments is because I don't think it's a brilliant idea to joke about you being the leaker if you supposedly didn't do it. And he doesn't address him taunting Ali when all this was happening. He sent this out of nowhere when Ali was being investigated. You knew this, and I showed screenshots of you admitting Ali leaked it, despite this being untrue. Will you talk about that, or are you intentionally leaving it out? You mentioned that I say you and Exotic exchanged nudes with no proof. There was proof, albeit false, that's why I take it out. I want to present real screenshots as genuine proof. You mentioned that I never tried to contact you or Exotic during this, and that's not true. I sent you a friend request while this video was in production and you never accepted it. Reckless Brains, too, the creator of Skidbegon, had also sent you a friend request previously and you ignored that too. Since you accepted neither of ours, I carried on with the video. Also, I am the one who contacted Exotic, not the other way around. Hearing that screenshot was false shocked me, which is why I quickly edited the video with that part out. Later on, he tries to tell everyone to read his response again and doesn't acknowledge any of the criticism I made against his response. In the video, I mentioned that you lied about Cosmic Chat's quote and then backpedaled to give yourself plausible deniability. You intentionally left that out. There's a lot of weird things I want to point out in his response. Starting off with the old one. In Dry's old response, he directly quotes Chad despite this being a call, with no receipts or recordings of it. In his current response, he tries to backpedal out of this by saying he remembered something along the lines of, again, this is completely wrong. Chad was never homophobic. I mentioned that under the Skidbegon section, you blamed other people. You intentionally left that out. Plain awful. Under the Skidbegon section, he talks about other people and tries to throw them under the bus to divert attention away from himself. Under the Exotic Arrow portion of your response, you intentionally left out that you ERP'd. What makes this worse is that none of this is even acknowledged in Dry's response. He describes the situation as general horniness and does not acknowledge anything else. Your response doesn't have all the facts, this is why I made the video. You tell people to read something that doesn't have everything. Later on in the video, he brings official MindGabe into the situation because I used these two screenshots. I did not know this was MindGabe. I barely spoke to him about anything. The only time I spoke to him regarding the situation was sending him the script to see if it was okay grammatically. You point at Gabe to read the response, though my points earlier about the response intentionally leaving out information should explain why I included the first two. The DMs between Gabe and Dry were not something I was aware of, and this is the first time I am seeing them. I didn't leave them out, I didn't even know you DM'd Gabe. You say this as me not citing a source when I didn't even know who this was. Gabe is not my friend and I barely know them. He asked you on his own accord questions. In Dry's response, he pulls the age excuse again, and I'm going to give that my full attention now. You bring up that you were 15. Okay, the problem with this is that you are still capable of critical thinking when you are 15. You don't accept accountability when you cross boundaries. You go, guys, I was just 15, and that's it. Once again, you will link your response, but I've already explained why your response is flawed. You don't take full accountability in this situation if you intentionally leave out parts of what happened so people aren't aware. I did read your response, that's why I criticized it, though you left out the examples in my video. Your response writes everything off as you being 15 and them being jokes. You can say they're jokes, but that doesn't make any of them less creepy to the victim since you were the one stepping over boundaries. Sexual jokes aren't a new thing to any teenager, yet you put the attention on it. The difference is that you had the opportunity to ask the victims if they were comfortable, and you didn't. You show up, immediately begin being creepy towards people out of nowhere, and then brush it off as just being jokes. This wouldn't have been in the video if you acknowledged everything in response and made a proper apology. I am a person that's experienced essay in school before, so you purposely not addressing any of your sexual advances on people is what irked me to include it. You are 18. You can put something along the lines in your document, like when I was 15, I didn't understand boundaries, so I would frequently go out of line to friends and strangers alike by asking them what their fetishes were, and similar topics. Being older, I know this was wrong of me to do so, and I am sorry to those who I made uncomfortable at the time. But instead, your response deflects on the other people and doesn't say everything that happened. The reason I made this video is because a lot of the people you hurt were my friends. Ali, Greco, the anonymous person, I know these people closely. Your response is a half-truth, or you leave out some of the story. The entire reason I made that video is because I wanted you to make a true apology and acknowledge everything, but instead, your response intentionally leaves out parts, just like your document.